What's up, y'all? I'm Faith. Welcome back to Faithfully Geeky. If you're new here, welcome. I am a full-time stay-at-home mom, part-time bookseller, all-the-time reader in living and working and surviving in Eastern North Carolina. And today, we're going to talk real fast, hopefully, about 9 books that I've read that are coming out in the month of June. I got way off my recording schedule because my kids have decided that quiet time means screaming time, and it's just been impossible to find a quiet moment to record. But my husband actually had to work downstairs, and they're actually quiet right now, so hopefully the ambient noise of laundry happening in the background isn't too loud and this angle works, and we're just gonna do it, okay? So I have 9 books that I have read that are coming out in June, that none of them I hated. So we're good. So we're going to talk through those real quick. First up, we have A Song Below Water, which I actually talked about in a wrap-up recently. This one is by Bethany C. Morrow. It is out from Torteen, and the tagline is Young, Black, Secretly Magical. And I think that really sells it. It is, one is a siren, one is not a siren. 2 young black women living in Portland. This book takes place in Portland. It's been a while since I've read this, guys. But they live in a world where magical creatures exist, and sirens are only black women, and it is a way of discriminating against young black girls is to accuse them of being sirens, trying to silence the sirens. So you get an aspect of, how do I want to phrase this? You get an aspect of police brutality, you get an aspect of rage and silent rage, and but you also get the joy of being a beautiful, amazing, magical creature. So this is awesome. I really loved it. It is a young adult debut. Bethany C. Morrow has written other really good adult sci-fi. But yeah, this is one of those that when I finished it, I was like, the pacing seems a little off. And then the longer I sat with it, the more I like it. So this one comes out on June 2nd. I actually wrote down the dates. Aren't you proud of me? The second one I'm going to just put here because I actually loaned out my copy to another bookseller. Otherwise, I'd show you how I tabbed with washi tape. I don't tab with tabs. But I marked up a lot of Agnes at the End of the World by Kelly McWilliams. This is a book, it's another YA about a near dystopian future in which a girl is trying to take care of her brother. They are part of a doomsday cult, loosely like super extreme scary Mormon, loosely Manson family without the murder. But it is, she's trying to take care of her brother. He has something happen. They have to run away to save him. And it's the apocalypse. That's all I'm giving you. It is good. It is amazing. I loved it. The bookstore where I work, Page 158 Books, is getting signed book plates to go with copies if you pre-order. So I'll put a link down below for pre-order. As with most of these books, if you're interested at all in a book and you think you're probably going to buy it, go ahead and pre-order it, because at this time it's really hard for authors, it's really hard for booksellers to try to sell books. So this one, pre-order. I loved it. Again, it's been several months since I've read it, but it was so good. And it's actually a book that comes out of the We Need Diverse Books movement. So I thought that was really cool. I didn't even know that until I finished it. And then I was like, oh, that's awesome. But I actually grew up in a town that has a resident cult. It's a thing I have to live with. It's a thing we all had to live with. And it felt very true to life without being so realistic that you're depressed all the time. There's hope in this book, and it is fun and crazy and wild, and apocalypse is a thing that's happening to us right now. And that one comes out on June 9th. June 16th, I have 2 books for. The first one is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. Several years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, she wrote the Mothers, which was a book of the month pick. I still haven't read it because I think I've mentioned it before, but I suffered from a postpartum mood disorder, and so certain things about motherhood I haven't been able to read. But this one is about a set of twins. It takes place over 2 generations, part in the 50s. Yeah. One part starts in the 50s, another part starts in the 90s. You're following a set of twins from the 50s. They are black, but they are very light-skinned, and they run away from home, and then one starts passing as white and takes that path and doesn't tell anyone that she's a woman of color and passes for white into her adulthood, and the other one stays as a woman of color and follows that path. It's hard to talk about this as a white girl because this is not my experience at all, but I thought it was beautifully written. They each have a daughter, and so the daughters in the 90s start to find each other. And so the one sister who left to live the life of a white woman was not heard from again by her sister. And so you're following that. Like I said, it's not my experience, but I thought it was beautifully written. It's one of those books where, this can be a mirror to some people. It was a window to me. I was able to view someone else's experience, but it deals with colorism in the South. It's a beautifully written book. It's very powerful. It's got a gorgeous cover, and I was just really excited to get a copy of it. So yeah, that's The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. Also out on June 16th is I'll Be the One by Lila Lee. This is a K-pop romance in California featuring a fat, queer, Korean-American girl who decides to go on a K-pop reality competition show that's filming in the United States. It is fun, it is summery, it is everything that cover promises. I think there's going to be a sequel, so I'm really excited. And the author, on the day that I'm filming, the author just promoted that we're a month out from it releasing, and she's doing pre-order bonuses. So sign up, pre-order. But yeah, if you want a really fun, light YA romance for your summer, I bumped the bookcase. Sorry, guys. That's the one to do. And then also coming out, that was both of June 16th. I'm trying really hard not to have to edit this, so good luck to all of us. And then everything else I have to talk about comes out on June 23rd. Evidently, everything that got moved to June 23rd. So we're just going to go through this stack super fast. I'm actually going to save this one for last because I really liked it. First up, we've got Otessa Moshfegh's Death in Her Hands. Here's the cover because it's so cool and weird. Otessa Moshfegh writes really weird stuff. Whoa, that killed my light. I'm sorry, guys. There we go. She writes weird literary fiction. This one is about a widow, an older widow who goes for a walk. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my light. I'm sorry. I'm just going to keep going because nature. This is about an elderly widow who goes for a walk in the woods in her, is she in New England? I can't remember where. It felt New England-y. But she's moved to a rural area. She takes her dog for a walk. She finds a note on the ground that reads, "Her name was Magna. No one will ever know who killed her. It wasn't me. Here's her dead body." She finds the note, but she doesn't find a body. And it's her journey after that and how she thinks through things. And it's weird and confusing, but in like a good way. And I'm still thinking about the ending. And they were supposed to do a special edition for Independent Bookstore Day. and obviously Independent Bookstore Day didn't happen. So this one is getting a special indie exclusive edition. So if you're going to order it from your independent bookstore. And again, we are getting signed copies at mine, so I will link it below. It's just such a cool cover. I just love it. That's why I picked it up. My boss and I were both like, ooh. All right, and then we have The Girl from Widow Hills by Megan Miranda. Megan Miranda's been getting a lot of press lately, which is awesome because I consider her a hometown girl. She is from up the mountain from where I grew up in Western North Carolina. And so I texted my brother as soon as I got my ARC because this takes place in North Carolina, so I'm required to love it. But yeah, it's hard to talk about a thriller without spoiling anything, and I'm not going to spoil this one. You don't understand what's happening until the very last page. I've read a lot of thrillers now, even though I haven't read a lot of thrillers. So this didn't feel as compelling as some of her other books, but it fits really well into what we know of Megan Miranda, and I enjoyed it. And again, like I said, this takes place in North Carolina. Would you like to know what it's actually about? It is about Arden, who is living in Western North Carolina in the mountains. Actually, I have a town in my head where I picture this taking place. I don't know if that's the case or not, but in my mind, this takes place outside Brevard County. Yeah, middle of freaking nowhere. But she's working at a healthcare facility in the mountains, and she's actually under a different name than she grew up. She was a victim of a freak act of nature. As a child, she sleepwalked out of her house and was swept away by floodwaters, by a flash flood, into the drainage of her mountain Tennessee town, and was found several days later still alive. So she was really famous. Her mother wrote a book about it. Her mother was kind of crazy. And so because of all of that, she changed her name and moved away. And now she might be the victim of, she might be sleepwalking again, and she might have she might be involved in someone's death. And so I'm going to tell you, again, if you like Megan Miranda, definitely worth picking up. This is not All the Missing Girls, but nothing ever will be. But I enjoyed it, and it comes out June 23rd. And yeah, it's a Megan Miranda ARC. Oh, it's the first one I've gotten physically. I normally get them digitally. All right, so we've got that one. I'm going through my list here to see if we've got The Party Upstairs by Lee Connell. This one is, I talked about in a wrap up recently. Takes place over a single 24-hour period in an apartment building on the Upper East Side. It's dual perspectives, a father and a daughter. She is home from college. He is the super of the building. They live in the basement. She is friends with the girl in the penthouse on the top floor. There's a party upstairs. Something happens. It's not a thriller. It's not a mystery. It's a very busy slice of life moment. But the cover is because our female main character is very into dioramas. That's what she studied in college. That's what she wants to do with her life. And so it's told like diorama style, I would, in my non-educated opinion. But if you like good literary fiction, it's not quite on the same level for people who loved Normal People. Not quite there, but it's the same style. It gave me the same feeling, the same vibe. We're not going to talk about the fact that I wasn't a huge Normal People person. Don't at me. It's okay. The Party Upstairs, I enjoyed. Then we've got The Last Flight, another thriller by Julie Clark. This, if you can't tell, she is She is going up or down an escalator in an airport. A woman fleeing an abusive relationship goes to the airport to get on a plane and switches, this is all in the first couple chapters, so it's okay, switches identities, with someone she runs into in security. They switch clothes, they switch tickets, they look enough alike that they can pass as one another. They both get on the plane. She gets to California, or you think they both get on the plane. Maybe they didn't both get on the plane. She gets to California and finds out the flight she was supposed to be on crashed into the ocean. So now she has to assume this other woman's life without, and live with the guilt that somebody might have died. So you're following Claire, who's the woman running away, from the airport forward, and you're following Eva from a point in the past up to the airport to find out what happened. Why were they running away? Was what Eva told Claire about her life accurate? It's a thriller. Can you trust anybody? Probably not. But seriously, it's one of those you don't know what's happening until the very end, which is always good in a thriller. And then we've got another digital, Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert, which I don't feel like I need to say anything about. It also comes out on June 23rd. It is the second in the Brown Sisters series. The first one was Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I feel like there's nothing I need to say about it, but Danny is a PhD student in London. She is queer and doesn't think she has time for romance and thinks she's bad at romance. She has some definite baggage she's dealing with. And she meets, or she has been, she already knows the security guard at her building. I want to say his name is Zaf. And he listens. In the first chapter you meet him, he's listening to a romance novel on audiobook. And I'm like, okay, I'm here for this. But something happens and people think that they are dating. And because of a situation Zaf is dealing with, it is beneficial to him for people to think they are dating. So it is a fake dating to real dating romance. It's very sweet, but not like saccharine. Parts of it are sweet, parts of it are snarky, very witty. Their banter is just awesome. So if you want a good, fun summer romance that's more on the naughty side, Take a Hint, Danny Brown. And then last, we're going to switch gears here. This is probably, I don't know, one of my favorite books coming out in June. It is What Unbreakable Looks Like by Kate, I lost her last name, McLaughlin. This book, if you have any trigger warnings related to this topic, check my Edelweiss or Goodreads reviews, because I gave a pretty detailed content warning. But it is about a girl who is the victim of sex trafficking. And it's not about the trafficking itself. It's about her life after. It's about her trying to move on from that. And then she is the victim of an assault. And people, and that's further into the book, but it's in the jacket copy. And I think it's important to know that going into it, because this is a hard read. This is, as I just listened to a Book Riot podcast earlier today, and it is a tough hang, but it is worth it. Kate McLaughlin said that they did a ton of research for this. There's a lot of psychiatrists and people who are actually know what they're doing. She goes to stay with an aunt who is like legitimately cares about her. So there's a lot of things that happen in her life that are terrible. And you do deal with she was already I don't mean this, but this is the attitude people have. She was already a slut. So was it really assault, or was she asking for it? Like, you're dealing with that kind of attitude. But there are people in her life after she leaves the hotel where they are being held, who really care about her, who really want to make things work for her. And she's, trying to figure out, do I even want to ever be in a relationship again? Do I ever want to have sex again? And you go through all that with her as a teenager, and it broke my heart, but it was beautiful. And you can see I tabbed the crap out of this book. It's gorgeous. I loved it. I haven't seen this many places, and it could be because people just haven't gotten to it yet, but read this book. If you want a hard-hitting contemporary, read this book. If you want something to give you the same realistic feels that you might have had with Sadie, read this book. It's a different storytelling, but it's gorgeous. Oh, this is one of those books that's never going to leave me. So there's that one. And my piles are precarious, so I'm not going to hold it up again. But that is 9 books coming out in June that I have read. If you've read any of them because you got a hold of an advance copy, let me know down below. Let me know what you're excited to read in June. Let me know what you're excited for. What should I be pre-ordering? Just because I have read books that come out in June does not mean my pre-order list is any smaller. I pre-order a lot of books. If I'm going to buy a book, I'm going to pre-order it because I want to really support the author. So let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, the YouTube things, and hopefully I will be back soon. Hopefully my kids are actually asleep. That would be amazing. But thanks guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.